Well, good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming to you from my home here in Columbus. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning out there in YouTube land here tonight. I got a lot of things I want to talk about, so I'm just going to go and just jump right into it. And I'm glad to have all of you here, and thank you for joining me here tonight. Well, folks, the World Series is over. The Kansas City Royals are world champions. Congrats to them. But the Major League Baseball awards have already been handed out. And for all you Cleveland Indians fans out there, we did pretty good. Despite not making the playoffs. I mean, Corey Kluber won the American League Cy Young. Congrats to him. Yan Gomes and Michael Brantley won. They also went on to win a Silver Slugger Awards. And Michael Brantley actually finished third in the MVP voting. That was pretty impressive, if I may say so myself. So congrats to them, and I'm so happy, and I'm happy for them. I'm glad to have them. And it was a great season for us. It's just for FYI purposes. Rookie of the Year in Major League Baseball, the American League Rookie of the Year, Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox. Jacob Bregman of the New York Mets was named NL Rookie of the Year. MVP this season. For the American League, Mike Trout of the LA Angels. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. In the Cy Young, and you've already heard me mention Corey Kluber a second ago, the National League MVP is Clayton Kershaw. And for the first time since 1968, the last person ever to win both the MVP and the Cy Young, Bob Gibson in the National League, Bob Gibson of the St. Louis Cardinals back in 1968. Now, you know how I feel about a position player. I think the MVP should go to a position player. Bottom line, there were a lot of great guys. I know Pablo Sandoval had a great season. I mean, there's a few other players that had a great season. But congrats to Mike Trout, Clayton Kershaw, and Corey Kluber for winning the Cy Young and the MVP respectively. Congratulations to them as well. And also, too, Managers of the Year were handed out. This was a total shocker. Buck Showalter of the Baltimore Orioles was named AL Manager of the Year. NL Manager of the Year, Matt Williams of the Washington Nationals. Now, I agree with the NL, but the American League Manager of the Year, I cannot agree with Buck Showalter. If anybody should have been named American League Manager of the Year, it should have been Ned Yost to the Kansas City Royals. This was a guy that took the Royals. It took him 30 years to get back into the playoffs. And this was a guy that brought the team back from where they were. I couldn't believe back in July they were calling for his job because he was doing so bad. So my take is, I agree with the National League, but I don't agree with the American League Manager of the Year. I think the American League Manager of the Year should have been Ned Yost because he brought the Kansas City Royals back. I think with all that, so far so good. I think they got it right, but you know how I feel about that. Well, folks, I'm not sure if you know this or not. There was a $325 million deal in Miami that did not involve LeBron James. Major League Baseball got the biggest deal in sports history. Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami Marlins got a 13-year, $325 million deal. I mean, come on. Kobe Bryant, Calvin of the NBA of the Lakers. He only makes like about 170 some odd million, I think. Alexander Ovechkin, he makes about 125 million a year, one of the best players in the National Hockey League. And the NFL's Calvin Johnson, he only makes about 150 million. I cannot believe. Where are we at in society today? Can't we just play for the love of the game? Or is it for the love of the money? Bottom line, I think this was just absolutely off the wall. 13 years, $325 million. Okay, who needs $325 million? Come on. That amounts to about $38,000 for every at bat, or something like that. I don't know how all the math works out, but anyway, I just cannot believe 13 years, $325 million. Absolutely ridiculous. What's the deal nowadays? Kobe Bryant doesn't make that much. LeBron James is not even making anywhere near that much. Come on. Well, anyway, speaking of Cleveland, unfortunately, all we had to do was win, baby. All the Cleveland Browns had to do was just win, baby. Apparently, the Browns didn't get that message. They lost 23-7 Sunday against Houston. That was a depressing game. But the Bengals went on to beat the Saints for all you Bengals fans out there. But the highlight of the ball game is when one of the Bengals players tries to toss the ball up to a Bengals fan up in the stands, and a Saints fan called it. He was an older gentleman. And this girl was basically saying, "Please let me have the ball." And the old man from the old Saints fan was saying, "Absolutely not." She wound up getting the souvenir ball anyway. So this guy, I don't know his name, but he was a lifelong Saints fan. So it all works out. She got a souvenir ball. He kept the ball that he took away from her. So everybody won. So that's all that needs to matter. Did any of you folks last Saturday have a chance to watch Alabama upset Mississippi State? And with that upset, I could not believe Alabama jumped from number 5 to number 1 in the college football polls. In the college football polls, I could not believe that. A 25-20 upset. Mississippi State still has a top 4 spot at number 4. Now, that was just, come on. Now I know I know Oregon didn't play Saturday. Florida State's number 3, and they're the only undefeated team left in the country. And they're number 3 in the nation? Seriously. Now I know we're trying to do this college football playoff thing. Now they got a few kinks to work out, I grant you. But I think Florida State should be number 1. They're undefeated. Now I know they've lost. They've had a couple close calls. I think what happened was, now the more I think about it, I think what happened was with the game against Miami, where they should have beaten the Hurricanes easily, they almost threw it away. But as life is, it's just absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe Alabama leapfrogged from number 5 all the way to number 1 with that upset over Mississippi State. And Mississippi State still has a top 4 spot in the polls. So that's the way it is. We still got a couple weeks to go in the college football season. And we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. Ohio State last Saturday beat Minnesota 31-24. A little too close for my comfort. Now we got 3 games. Ohio State's got 3 games left. We play Indiana next week. Here at home and here in the shoe. We should have an easy time with Indiana. But I'm going to tell you this. Ohio State, if they want to get into the college football playoffs, this is what needs to happen. And I don't know if all this is going to happen, but it needs to happen and fast and real quick. First of all, we got to win out. Ohio State's got to win out if we want to play for the national championship. However, if we win out, we still need some help. We need Auburn to upset Alabama. We need Ole Miss to beat Mississippi State. And we need TCU or Baylor to lose somewhere. Will that all happen? I hope so. I would love to see it happen. I think it would be a wonderful thing if it would happen. But we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. And I was at ESPN.com last night. If the college football bowl schedule was to be handed out right now, it would look like this. It would be Florida State versus Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and in the Sugar Bowl, it would be Alabama versus Mississippi State. And as far as Ohio State goes, if the bowl schedule were to be handed out right now, we would be playing TCU in the Cotton Bowl. That's just something to throw out at you. We still got about 2, 3, 4 weeks left in the season. We still got some conference championship games that have to be played. But as it stands, this is how it stands up to the moment. It could change. The landscape could change. And there's an old saying in sports that's the most true saying of them all. And I know I'm probably going to get some backlash over this. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, and the fat lady ain't even warming up yet. But anyway, that's what's going on. That's how it looks right now. Wow, did you guys happen to see that race at Homestead, the final race of the season on Sunday? That was just a great race. Kevin Harvick winning the race, winning the championship. Congratulations to Happy Harvick. And did you notice this time around, there wasn't a Roush car or a Hendrick car in the championship battle? That means it was a Stewart-Haas car driven by Kevin Harvick for Stewart-Haas Racing that won the championship. So I bet you right now, Tony Stewart, despite the disappointing year in 2014 he had with everything that was going on, he's got to be smiling deep down inside saying that one of his cars won the championship. And it was just an absolute unbelievable thing. So congratulations, my heart goes out. Kevin Harvick, congratulations to you, my man. You're the champion. Now you have a championship. You got a Daytona 500 win. What's next? What else can he do? Could you imagine if you were to go to Indianapolis? Nah, that ain't gonna happen. But that's just the way it looks right now. So congratulations to Kevin Harvick on their victory on this victory as well. Did any of you guys have a chance to see that game on Monday night between Tennessee and Pittsburgh? Could you believe Ben Roethlisberger that the Steelers put up 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter of the ball game to beat the Titans 27-24? I saw highlights of that game. Pittsburgh, they came back and they won. Bottom line. So, congratulations to Pittsburgh. I figured I'd throw that in real quick. But also yesterday, I'm not sure if anybody's been told, Commissioner Roger Goodell has suspended Adrian Peterson for the rest of the season with no pay. He has been suspended until April 15th of next year after pleading no contest to child abuse, after beating his 4-year-old son with a switch or a belt or something. But I'm glad that at least Goodell's trying. Roger Goodell is getting it right, because now you want to beat your kid, want to whip him with your hand, okay. It's not perfect, I'm sure he didn't have, I'm not sure, but that there constitutes child abuse right there. And we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. I just can't, I'm glad the NFL Players Association is having a problem with this, because they're saying this is going to be a case-by-case basis. They're saying that the NFL needs to get their house in order. Yes, they do. Yes, I will give them that all the way. But I will say this. Now, if you want to spank a kid, okay. And I'm not a big fan of discipline. I'm not a big fan of spare the rod, spoil the child. Okay? That's not how you handle it. But if you want to give him a little up tap, that's fine. But you don't do what he did. Don't do what Adrian Peterson did. He beat him with a switch, and that's just crazy. That is child abuse all the way. What he did. But we'll have to wait and see how it works out. He pled no contest. We're going to have to wait and see what happens next year with his hearing, because he didn't even show up for his hearings, and that was just absolutely unbelievable. But we'll have to wait and see what happens down the road. And Cleveland Cavaliers fans, I know the Cavs are playing the Spurs right now. They're just getting underway. But I've got some major news for you. Earlier this morning or late last night, I found out from somebody, from my Uncle Jim. He said, according to him, he says Kevin Love is going back to L.A. He wants to go back home to Los Angeles and play with the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I will definitely keep you posted. I'm hearing this secondhand from somebody else. I heard this from Uncle Jim last night. As it stands right now, Kevin Love wants to go back to L.A. and play with the Lakers. The guy only showed up in Cleveland last season. They basically just traded away Andrew Wiggins after he got drafted #1 in the NBA draft. And now Kevin Love wants to come to Cleveland, and now all of a sudden he wants to change his mind and go back to L.A.? Make up my mind, you idiot. Do you want to stay here or do you want to go to L.A.? Come on. Bottom line. Well, I'm trying to keep my cool about this, but Kevin Love, you need to make up your mind, man. You want to stay here in Cleveland or you want to go to L.A.? Because this is ridiculous. We had to trade away the #1 draft pick that we had in the NBA draft to have you come to Cleveland, have you leave Minnesota and come to Cleveland. And now you want to go back to L.A.? You've got to be kidding me. But anyway, to finish this show up on a high note, with everything that's been going on right now in the world of sports, oh no. Okay. With everything that's been going on right now in the world of sports, it's been a wonderful day. And you guys know it's been 10 years since we've had the Malice at the Palace in Detroit, up at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Remember that incident with Ron Artest, or should I say Meta World Peace? It's been 10 years since we've had that happen. And a lot has changed in the NBA. Times have changed, and maybe we can end this issue with violence. But you know what? It's been 10 years. I'm going to move on. I've moved on since what happened in Auburn Hills about 10 years ago. I don't know what's happened with some of these players. I know a few of them have already left. But I'm going to say this. It's been a great ride. And now, with the new NBA going on to the new commissioner, maybe some new stuff will get done. And with the old commissioner, David Stern, being gone, the NBA has really changed, in my opinion, for the better. And I say hats off to them. And also, too, before I go, I want to give a shout-out to Kobe Bryant. Congratulations. You now joined the 32,000-point mark. So my hat's off to you. Congratulations to you as well. I'm happy for you. And there may be a spot on my wall of honor one of these days. But, folks, I am going to go ahead and sign off for the night. I will be doing another show, and I'm thinking about doing another show on Saturday evening. I haven't decided yet, but I will have another show next week. It will be next Tuesday night for sure. I might do a show on Saturday. I haven't decided yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens from there. So I want to let you know before I go, this show is sponsored in part by you, the fans, who make this show what it is tonight and makes my life worthwhile. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night and say, this is Scott Manning saying good night, good luck, and thank you. Thank you, and good night.